A country's diplomats typically work back channels to solve differences before they become public fiascos. This week, the diplomats were the ones in the middle. Jamaica has declined to provide customary diplomatic immunity for an incoming U.S. ambassador's spouse. Same-sex marriage is not legal there. Now the U.S. is declining to renew permission to stay for several of Jamaica's diplomats, including its ambassador and its consul general in Miami. South Florida's Caribbean community is watching very closely and looking to see where their elected leaders here stand. We invited several Miramar commissioners who promote their nationality and Jamaican ties in their campaigns. We received no response from them. Wayne Goulding is right here with us live, an attorney and advocate who has been an advisor to the Jamaican government and also to those in the diaspora. It is good to see you again, Mr. Goulding.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to be here with you.
So we talked earlier in the week and you had some really interesting insights. And as we were speaking, this was hitting the airwaves in South Florida. Have you heard from any of the diaspora? What are people saying?
Well, we've been having, it's been percolating through the diaspora. We've been having folks comment on it, folks that I deal with on a regular basis. And I think it's something that is, as I said before, a watershed moment, because it's almost like you have to be a sophist. You're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea if you are Jamaican diasporan. And also if you are supportive of this particular administration. So, you know, it's one of those issues that I think people have to think very carefully about and not just jump to conclusions. And additionally, some of the information that we've been getting is pretty sketchy. For example, we're being told that it's an ambassador, but we have not confirmed that yet, because currently sitting in Jamaica is Nick Perry, the current U.S. ambassador, who actually was born in Jamaica. So is there a change of foot? So a lot of questions are being brought up other than the direct topic at hand.
Yes, and to your point, I will say that neither government is affirming or denying or confirming any of this, but for the Jamaican diplomats here, the U.S. State Department has confirmed that they are not renewing their stays, so that part is confirmed. And the Jamaican government has confirmed that they will not issue any kind of standard diplomatic immunity to a same-sex spouse. So those two things we know are indeed happening. And then you have, okay, so you have countries' laws in conflict. You have what many will label human rights in conflict. What do you see is the consequence of what has been decades of friendship and allyship and good diplomatic ties between these two countries?
Well, it's so funny. Diplomacy has to be quiet, and it has to be done in the background.
Which they're doing really well.
and against the backdrop of what's in the best interest of both countries. But we all have to live with the reality that the great United States of America has leverage over so many other countries in the world, simply because of their position of power economically and otherwise. So when other countries are making decisions diplomatically in how they deal with the U.S., I think these are some of the things that are taken into consideration. It might not be said, but there's the talk of the big stick, and that's been around in Jamaica from the 1970s, going back to the Michael Manley government and all the things that we've seen that happened as a result of the conflict politically and diplomatically that happened. And to say Jamaica has taken a hard stance on this particular issue, the question begs itself is what will happen beyond just not allowing the diplomats to stay beyond their 5-year term, which is perfectly within the rights of the United States. You know, as of August 2021, diplomats from all over the world, you know, in their missions in the United States are accredited for a maximum of 5 years. One of the interesting things I think the U.S. said this year, that it said that ambassadors, charge of affairs, and deputy chiefs of missions are exempt from the 5-year accreditation policy. And this is part of the information or lack of information that's not adding up, because we're hearing that the ambassador from Jamaica, Audrey Marks, to the United States, is one of those slated to leave after the 5 years that she's appointed here, or is not going to be granted an extension. But additionally, the community at large is really going to reel from this, because we have some great diplomats that have come into the United States from Jamaica and are doing a wonderful job, both on the level of dealing government to government and dealing with the Jamaican community here. So people are looking at it as a great loss for those diplomats and also their families, because you have to remember, they travel with their families. And it's back to the other side of the coin now, where, the issue is whether Jamaica can be or should be forced to accept diplomats coming in same-sex couples, which is clearly not on their books as far as the law is.
Yeah.
But let me just tell you one fact. There are 70 other countries with the same position.
So this is and Jamaicans by and large that we know and that we've spoken to here frame it as a faith-based argument for them, and it is one country's laws. And I think you were talking a little bit about a David and Goliath situation. Part of the video, we were just looking at the Consul General here, Oliver Mayer, who I'm going to guess is one of those diplomats who's very involved in the community here that you were talking about, and in fact has actually campaigned for some people running for commission in Miramar and other places. So involved in local government elections. And now those elected officials aren't really saying much. Should they? Should they let their constituents know where they stand?
I will defer to the term campaigning, because they're not allowed to campaign.
Appeared in campaign literature? Is that more specific?
Well, I have not seen that myself, but I think the community at large deals with their diplomatic representative on a much different level than some other countries. They're much more involved, much more in tune. Whether or not it's a local issue is up to those people who are elected locally for them to speak. And they cannot represent, I think, the position of the Jamaican government one way or the other. They can represent their constituency here locally. And it's not only Jamaicans that they represent when they're elected, so we have to remember that. But the key issue here, I think, is how can this be resolved? It's something that is not going to go away. And we have to always look at what's in the best interest of the country. And then when you compare across the world, for example, the saying is that the U.S. would never ask a Muslim country to post a same-sex diplomat there. So people are always comparing the size of the dogs in the fight and versus the bark.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to have to say goodbye because we're up against a commercial break. But I do want to let you know, I hope that you will stay in touch with us because your insights are very valuable as this all unfolds. Wayne Golding, really appreciate your time.
Thank you. And we just have to give this a thoughtful process in thinking about it.
We'll be very diplomatic about it.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks so much.
Take care.